So Thursday night, I'm just scrolling YouTube, not looking for anything in particular, and this video stops me dead. No fancy thumbnail, no clickbait title, just pretty raw footage of what looks like a humanoid robot on an assembly line sorting packages. And my first thought was honestly, wait, what am I even looking at right now? Like, is this old? Is this CGI? Did I somehow sleep through a major announcement? Because this thing is just working. Picking up packages, reading barcodes, and placing them on a conveyor belt, over and over, smoothly, quietly, and almost eerily human. And I realize this isn't a video clip, and I'm not the only one watching. 3 million people are already tuned in, just watching a robot do one of the most boring jobs imaginable, and nobody can look away. So I started digging. Who made this? How long's it been running? Is anyone controlling it? And the more I found out, the more I was intrigued. Because this wasn't a stunt. This wasn't a highlight reel. This was a company that quietly turned on a camera, put their humanoid robots to work, and said, "We're not stopping until something breaks." This is the story of the robot wars that are already happening, and what this week just proved. So here's what went down. On May 14th, Figure AI launched an unannounced 8-hour live stream deploying 3 humanoid robots, nicknamed Bob, Frank, and Gary, to sort packages on a real conveyor belt with zero human intervention, working in relay rotation. The livestream was actually triggered by a public challenge from a well-known robotics evangelist who said humanoid robots had limited commercial value unless they could independently complete an entire work shift. CEO Brett Adcock heard that, and instead of firing back on social media, he just started the stream. No announcement, no press release, just, here's our robots, watch it. Millions tuned in to watch the robot pick up small packages and place them on a conveyor belt with the barcode facing down. 2 humanoids stood on chargers in the background, ready to tap in when the working robot ran low on battery. One viewer called it surprisingly addicting. An investor wrote that robotic ASMR is bizarrely comforting. People were riveted by a robot doing one of the most boring jobs imaginable, and then 8 hours ended, and Adcock said, "Keep going." So our original goal was an 8-hour run. After 0 failures, we decided to keep going. We're now over 24 hours of continuous autonomous operation without a failure. This is uncharted territory, he said. The robots ultimately hit 88,000 packages over roughly 72 hours of continuous operation. And the stated endgame? The live stream will keep running until a robot physically breaks down. So that's not a PR stunt. That's a stress test live in front of the world. Now let's talk about why this matters. These robots aren't being controlled by someone with a joystick in a back room, meaning no teleoperation. We've seen videos like that before. This was different. They're not following a pre-programmed script like a factory arm that just repeats the same motion 1,000 times. They are thinking, or at least the closest thing to thinking we've ever seen a machine do in a real warehouse environment. The AI system powering them is called Helix 2, and it handles everything: walking, grabbing, balancing, and deciding. All of it running on board the robot itself like a brain. There's no massive computer in the next room doing the heavy lifting. What you see is what you get. And the robots aren't just working, they're managing themselves. When a robot runs low on battery, the other one rotates in. When one has a software or a hardware issue, it autonomously leaves for maintenance, and a replacement takes over. Nobody has to babysit them. They cover each other's shifts like a well-trained work crew. Now here's the part that genuinely blew my mind. These robots have tactile sensors built into their hands that can feel pressure at the 3-gram level. 3 grams. That's the weight of a paperclip. These machines can feel a paperclip on their hands. That's why they can handle a beat-up package just as easily as a rigid box. They're adjusting their grip in real time based on what they feel, not just on what they see. And the speed? So human package sorters average about 3 seconds per package. These robots are right there, essentially matching their speed. Not bad for a machine that 2 years ago could barely walk across the stage without falling over. Okay, here's where it really gets interesting. Because while Bob, Frank, and Gary were out logging overtime, Tesla's Optimus robot was not. So let me paint you a picture of where Tesla is right now. On the Q4 25 earnings call, Elon Musk made a striking admission that the Optimus units are primarily for learning and data collection. He called it still very much in the R&D phase. This is the same robot Musk said would be production ready by 2023, 24, and then 2025. Every major Optimus production timeline since 22 has been missed. Tesla's own CEO says that robots are not doing useful work. Meanwhile, Figure AI just live-streamed 3 robots sorting 88,000 packages nonstop until one physically breaks. You tell me who just upped the game. And Figure didn't do this in a lab. For Figure AI, a startup valued near $40 billion, this was a public audition for a future in which humanoids can work long shifts in warehouses, factories, and eventually homes. The demo gave investors and potential customers a rare look at whether the company's robots can perform repetitive labor reliably. Tesla does have massive plans. They raised their 26 capital expenditure guidance to over $25 billion, roughly 3 times their 25 spend, with a significant share flowing into Optimus lines and massive new robotics facilities under construction at Giga, Texas. They stopped making the Model S, a car that defined electric vehicles, to free up factory space for robots. Tesla's Optimus V3 reveal has been pushed to late July or August 26, with Musk citing competitive secrecy. Competitive secrecy? Interesting choice of words when your competition just went live for 72 hours straight. At a target price of $20 to $30K, Optimus would undercut competitors like Figure AI by 5 to 10 times if they can eventually build it at scale. That's the big if. Figure isn't cheap and it isn't selling robots yet, but they are proving something Tesla hasn't, that their robots can actually work right now, today, in front of cameras. So here's what I need you to understand. This isn't just a robot company flex. This is a signal flare for where the entire economy is headed. The live stream generated significant market excitement, not because of technical showmanship, but because it demonstrated for the first time that humanoid robots possess the capability for long-term, stable operation in a real-world production environment. Millions of viewers watched with a blend of amazement and anxiety, a vivid reflection of how quickly humanoid robots are moving from a lab into real-world marketplaces. And the anxiety part? Well, it's still valid. Because as robots begin proving their commercial worth by performing the job of package sorters, the question becomes, exactly how wide does the moat around human labor still remain? The live stream triggered a 5% surge in China's robotics sector as well, with intense market focus on core components like precision reducers and motors. That's not hype, that's capital moving. But we should also be honest. Robotics expert Ayanna Howard expressed skepticism about the robot's actual deployment readiness, noting accuracy issues with package placement, and described the performance as closer to a science project rather than something ready for full-scale commercial deployment. Fair enough. These robots aren't replacing every warehouse worker tomorrow. But they don't need to be perfect tomorrow. They just need to prove that they can work continuously, reliably, autonomously today. And they did that. So where does that leave us? Figure AI just forced the entire robotics industry to respond. They didn't announce a product. They didn't release a demo reel. They opened a live stream and said, watch us work. We won't stop until we break. So Tesla has the money, the manufacturing scale ambitions, and the brand. But right now, in May of 26, they're building toward a future that Figure AI is already living in, on camera, in real time in front of millions. The robot wars are not coming. They're here. Bob, Frank, and Gary just punched in for a shift that nobody asked them to end. And somewhere in Palo Alto, Austin, Texas, and Boston, along with Beijing, engineers are watching that live stream and asking themselves the same question. What's our answer? So if you want to follow the story as it develops, subscribe, hit the bell, and drop it in the comments section. Do you think Figure AI just lapped Tesla? Or is Elon about to pull a rabbit out of the hat with Optimus V3? We'll continue to track the robots, the funding, the technology, and the companies shaping this transformation right here on The Robotic Life. Head over to theroboticlife.com for our humanoid directory, robotics funding tracker, and deep dive analysis on the companies defining the next decade of AI and automation. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. This is Lars, and you've been tuned into The Robotic Life.